Hey guys, Biker Mike here out in the shop. Thought I'd bring my sled in here to do a rundown front to back of everything that I've done to it since I bought it. Now, there's a few reasons why I chose this snowmobile. One was for Yamaha's legendary reliability with that 3-cylinder 4-stroke. The other reason was that it was a year-old model, a new old stock, so I got a pretty good discount on it. The reason I chose the Viper RTX was because it came with the real nice Fox Q3 shocks. Now that's a 3-way adjuster on that shock. It makes it real easy and quick to make quick adjustments on the trail. And that just makes the whole riding experience a lot better when you're able to quickly adjust to changing trail conditions. So those were the three main reasons why I purchased this snowmobile. And before I get right into everything I've done to it, I just want to say thanks for everybody who's watched my other Yamaha Viper videos. I really appreciate the views, the comments, and most importantly now, more than ever, is the people who have subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate that, and it's really important for me, and it would really help me out if all you guys subscribe to my channel. I mean, that's what's going to help me keep this going. In return, I'll be helping you guys, hopefully, with lots of information, as much as I can provide you on these Yamaha Vipers or any of the other videos I post on my channel. If you're interested in them too, I'm also into riding some motocross and dirt bike riding, so I've got a lot of knowledge on dirt bike and off-road vehicle maintenance too, so I'm going to be spreading that out there as best as I can with these videos. So without any further ado, we'll just jump right into this. I'll start at the front of the sled and work my way back, everything that I've done. To start off with, we'll start with what I've done to the stock ski. Now this came with the tuner skis, which I do realize maybe the better setup is the single keel ski. I've chosen to just work with what I've got for now, and maybe I'll try that in the future. But I've found this snowmobile to have a lot of understeer, so I've been working on correcting that with just different carbide and ski runner setup. So I chose to run the Yamaha shaper bar, which is a square bar with 6 inches of carbide on the inside of the ski, and I'm running a round bar with 4 inches of carbide on the outside. And I really noticed a big difference when I went with the square bar on the inside of the ski. It really helps it turn a lot better. May not be as good as the single keel, but like I said, that's I just wanted to work with what I had, and it's a big improvement, and I'm really happy with how it turns now, and it works great. Now moving on to the suspension. The front suspension is all stock. I haven't really done nothing with it. I haven't even adjusted the preload on the spring. I just used that little 3-way clicker to adapt to changing trail conditions, and I've used all 3 settings. Like I said, I really like these shocks. It may benefit it if it had 5 settings, but you know, having quick access to changing it, the 3 position is better than no position, and it works really good. You know, I understand not a lot of people know how to adjust the clickers on a shock. I've got quite a bit of experience with setting up motocross bikes, so I'm familiar with it, but I still like this setup just because of the ease of adjusting it with your gloves on out on the trail, and it's real quick. And like I said, it makes the ride experience a whole lot better when you can quickly adapt to changing trail conditions. Now, I do a lot of long distance trail riding, so I chose to change the stock windshield on the RTX. This is a 2016 Viper RTX, by the way, and you can see the stock windshield, you know, there's not much there, and it's probably great for if you're out doing a lot of physical riding, ditch banging and whatnot, but I wanted to go with something a little bit better for wind protection, so I went with the Yamaha medium height windshield, and with the smoke finish, I just think it looks real nice and gives you lots of protection for those long rides when you're just trying to get back to the hotel room late at night and you're starting to get cold. It's nice to have the extra wind protection. Now, like I said at the start of the video, I've got a lot of other videos on this sled, so I've got the full oil change and gear oil change procedure on this, on, you know, a bunch of tips help you guys get your oil changed on your own. Make sure you check that out if you haven't. If you have, thanks again. And I chose to run the full synthetic after I broke this snowmobile in, and that's the oil I'm running in it. Now, when I'm running out on the trails, and what I'm using for navigating is my Garmin. It's a Inoji 2555 LM, and I've got it mounted up in the dash with a ram mount. And you can see down there, I had to drill into the plastic and put some bolts through it to hold the ram mount in, but it really works out good. It's protected. It actually helps keep it a little bit warmer too. And I went with the ram mount specific for that unit, and I found I had to relieve the case there a little bit with a Dremel tool just to help get the aftermarket plug power adapter I bought for it. This is the power adapter I bought. Hopefully you can see that. It's just a generic one, but you can use the stock one too, but I just wanted to keep that one in the truck. Now, what I did to this to make it work better out on the trail when you're bouncing around, I found it to pop out of the cigarette lighter really easy, and then you lose your power and it stops charging, and you always got to fiddle with it. So what I did for that was I just made it a little thicker by wrapping electrical tape around it, and that just makes it fit tighter in there, and it doesn't vibrate loose and pop out. So that's my setup with that. I'm running the red pine mapping on it for both Ontario and Michigan. It's a couple years old now, but it still works pretty good. Now, for when I rode up in Quebec, I downloaded the app iMotoneige, which is French for snowmobile, and it's a really awesome application if you're going to be riding in Quebec. It shows the trail status and the whole network, and will pinpoint where you are as long as you're in cell phone coverage. Where I rode last year over on the eastern side, I never had any issues. I always had reception. It works really good. I don't think it was very much money. Can't remember exactly. It might have been $5, something like that. Don't quote me on that though. For riding in Ontario, I also use my iPhone, and I just go right to This website, well, it's right on the OFSC website. You just have to agree to the terms of use. It shows our trail network there. Yeah, that's the kind of winter we're having right now. It's pretty crappy, so not a lot out there to ride. But anyways, I struggled with using this a little bit the first time I was out with it until I realized that you can pinpoint your location by hitting that little button there, and it doesn't show an icon on the map network, which I wish it did, but it doesn't. But if you just keep zooming it in, it will show your exact location, so within, you know, a pretty good proximity. But yeah, I just kind of wish it had a little icon there that showed where you were on the map at all times. But if you want to find your location, hit that button and zoom it in up there with the zoom buttons, and it'll show you exactly where you are. So those are the 3 ways I navigate around on the trail systems, and always have some maps in the tunnel bag too for backup. But it's real handy to have the iPhone or your smartphone with the maps on it, and it's handy to have a GPS up here or wherever, just so you can glance down and see where you are. Okay, so I do some ice fishing, so I'm out there, and it'd be a small chance, but I use a boat keychain for my ignition key, and you know, I just keep some ibuprofens in there and some Tums or whatever, just in case you need something while you're out riding. And you know, if you ever dropped it in the snow, it probably wouldn't fall down in with this on there, so I just used that. Now it did kind of scuff up the panel here a little bit, so you may not want to do that, but that's what I do just to be safe. Just, you never know, I'd hate to lose the key in the snow, or somehow it ends up in the water when I'm out ice fishing. That would really pretty much suck for the day. Now I also went with the Yamaha accessories storage bag here. This helps keep stuff nice and warm, and I'll show you what I keep in that little bag. Okay, so this is what I keep in the little heated storage. I've got an extra heated visor cable, and I also have the Yamaha plug for the cigarette lighter that you can plug your visor in as well. I keep a 2-prong adapter in there, and an adapter for my cell phone to keep it charged if I need to. Now what's really neat about that is you can plug all that in and just tuck your cell phone in the heated storage with the cord, and it'll charge up while you're riding and keep it nice and warm. I've got these little gloves I use when I'm refueling at gas stations. It's nice, I can still work all the buttons on the pump and not grab a hold of an ice cold nozzle, and keep my hands warm while I'm refueling. I keep the tools for the quick adjust on my clutch to get the belt on and off if I need to, or make any adjustments on the trail. I'll get to that in a little bit. Moving up to the handlebars, I have another ram mount for my Lowrance ice fishing GPS unit that I sometimes run with. I also have these Royal Distributing handlebar mitts. Now what I like about having the handlebar mitts on this is I really struggle with poor circulation in my hands, so they get really cold really fast, and once they're cold it's really hard to get my hands warmed up again. So I run these, and it really helps to keep all the wind off. And what it allows me to do, what I really like, is it allows me to run a thinner glove where I have better dexterity. It's not as cumbersome to grip the handlebars when you're riding more aggressively. It still allows you to hit all the buttons fine. Also allows to run a little bit cheaper of a glove, so you can have a couple pairs, and that's what really helps is when you have a dry pair of gloves to change into when your other ones get sweaty and wet. So that's what I run. I'm really happy with it. I do have some real nice FXR gloves that I really like, but they're kind of cumbersome. So like I said, I'd rather run these muffs and have a thinner glove, and also the thinner glove transfers the heat up to your hand better when you don't have like a big thick layer of insulation on the palm of your hands. You know, your hands stay warmer with this setup, so that's how I chose to keep my hands warm out on long rides. So for my heated visor plug, I can't remember the name of this one, but it was a aftermarket one. I just mounted it up into the handlebar riser, and it works out great there. I ran it all the way back underneath along the frame rail right back to the battery. Obviously put a fuse right back there too, so it's nice and handy. I haven't had any issues. It's plugs right in there. If you're not using it, you can close the little flap on it. It just happened to fit perfect in there, so I went with that. Another thing I went with were these knee pads, available right from Yamaha. And it's real nice if you have one of these or the Articat snowmobiles. Really recommend getting the knee pad. Makes riding a whole lot nicer. Your knees don't get sore, because I'm actually standing up on this snowmobile most of the time, so they're really nice, and I really recommend getting them. So I chose the Yamaha tunnel bag when I bought this snowmobile, and I really like it. You can snap it on and off real quick and easy. It's like height adjustable. It's got 2 zipper systems, so if you have it right packed full of stuff, you can use the other zipper, and it gives it extra height, so you can fit a lot of stuff in there. Maybe I'll show you some things I keep back here. Keep some trail maps in there. I've got an extra pair of mitts just in case I lose my grip heaters. I've got mitts and some hand warmers. Keep some fuses, some zip ties, and some more ibuprofens. You know, I'm getting older, so get pretty sore sometimes. I've got my stock belt. I'll show you guys which belt I'm running here in a bit. I got jumper cables, just this rope, this cheap rope. I use that for towing. I've actually had to tow my buddy's sled with that one day, and that was a real unfortunate day for his Yamaha Nitro. I keep a flashlight in there. Now this one you can wind it up to recharge it, so I don't have to worry about keeping batteries for it. Toque, nice soft rag to wipe my helmet visor down, and got some lock de-icer. Never know what you might need that for. My toolkit from Yamaha, and that's about it for that. I also mounted the Yamaha hitch on this snow. apex on this snowmobile, I kept my saddlebag I had on it and I adapted it to work on the Viper too. So basically you just snap it on there up at the front. I riveted that on, and I riveted these little D-rings on, so you can just hook it on like this. I've never actually used this on a trip, but just in case I ever want to, or even if I go ice fishing, just need a little extra space. It works out really good, and then you got lots of luggage room and you don't have to wear a backpack. So just a little tip there, if you want to adapt this saddlebag to the Viper, that's how I did it. Now I chose to stud the track on this snowmobile, and those are the studs I chose for it. Went with the Woody's Gold Diggers, and I'll show you the pattern I used on that. So you can see I just put two close together, a little further apart, then so on and so on, just like that. It's worked out good. I haven't lost any and haven't broke any. And it's kind of important for me to have my track studded because, like I said, I do a fair bit of ice fishing, so need some traction when I'm out there. Now I chose to go with the Thunder Products clutch kit. This was supposed to help with a little bit more top speed, and it shifts a lot quicker. That's the one thing I noticed. There's no delay in downshifting, so you can get right back on the power after you go through a corner, and it's not hung up in a higher gear, so to speak, for lack of a better way to describe that. The clutches aren't slow to react to your throttle input, so I'm not sure about the top speed. I haven't really, had this thing opened right up out on a lake or nothing like that yet, so I can't confirm that, but it does shift really quick, and it also relieves some of that engine braking too when you're deaccelerating. So basically, when you order this kit, they custom set up the weights and the clutch for your body weight, and they come all pre-tuned, and they also send you different weights you can use on the weighted arms there. So I didn't mess around with anything, I just ran it the way they sent it to me. It also comes with a different secondary spring, and I also chose to purchase their adjustment tool. It makes it real easy to get the belt on and off and adjust your belt deflection. And speaking of the belt, I went with the carbon fiber belt they recommended. There's the number on it, and haven't had any issues with that. I think I have about 4,000 kilometers on it now, and everything's been working fine. But like I said, I can't confirm that top speed thing because I pretty much put this clutch kit on right away when my sled was brand new. I just heard that they benefited from them, so I did it. It was a fair bit of money. Would I do it again? I'm not sure. Probably if I had spent more time on the snowmobile before I did it, I could probably give you a little bit more insight on it. But like I said, it does get right back into the power out of a corner really quick. I noticed that, and it's not too bad on the engine braking on deacceleration. So there's the clutch adjustment tool installed. It just stays right on there and it makes it real easy. You just back off this little clamping Allen key there and run the other Allen bolt into this threaded hole, and it just pushes your clutch apart so you can get the belt off. Never really had to take it off, but I just like to keep it adjusted. And the one big tip I recommend if you do this clutch kit, now I'm not a clutch expert by no means, so I just followed their instructions exactly on how to do all this. And the one thing I figured out on my own were these little Allen set screws are really hard to get out. Felt like I was gonna strip the key part of it when I was trying to back them out, and what I ended up doing was just heating them up. I used a little propane torch with just a tiny little flame on it, but probably what would work better is use your soldering iron and just kind of heat up the set screw there, because they're Loctited in at the factory with blue Loctite, and it just helps to break that free without stripping out the head of the screw. So just a little tip there. Other than that, their instructions were great. Everything went together real quick and easy, and had no issues. They even have some videos on their website there. Just go to Thunder Products, and if you choose to get their kit, I know there's other ones out there. If you guys are running different kits or anything else, let me know down in the comments section what your thoughts are on this, and if you want to know more about it, maybe I'll do a little bit more of a video in the future. And let me know what you guys are running for your clutching on these snowmobiles, if it's all stock or if you went with something different. Now moving back into the rear suspension of this snowmobile. On my last Apex, I had high gear suspension redo the rear shock in it, and they did an awesome job. The shock was pretty wore out, but they also installed one of these dual rate spring kits, and I was really happy with that on the Apex, so I got one for the Viper too, to replace just this simple standard single rate spring, which if you're not too familiar with how suspension works, like on a motocross bike, they have a linkage system that progressively makes it harder to compress the spring the further through the travel the shock goes. Now, with these snowmobiles, they actually have what I was told is a falling rate linkage, so the further through the stroke of the suspension, the easier it is to compress the shock, which is opposite of what you want to have happen. So that's why they came up with this dual rate spring kit, so that allows more progression in your spring rate as the shock travels further through the stroke, so helps to avoid bottoming. In a nutshell, that's what it does. And they set it up, the spring rates specific to your weight, so I just ordered that right away when I bought the snowmobile because I was so happy with it in the Apex. And I also changed out the shock bushing. They recommended putting in their brass Teflon one. I think it's brass, but it's got some Teflon on it, and the stock one's just plastic, so it probably wouldn't take long to chew through that and then damage the eye of the shock. So those are the two things I got right away from High Gear Suspension. Check out their website. They've got all kinds of stuff for these snowmobiles, but that's all I chose to go with. I'm really happy with the Fox Q3s. Like I said, that was one of the determining factors for me to buy this snowmobile was the shock package it came with. I also went with the Yamaha fourth wheel kit. I've got a video on that. Make sure you check that out. There's a little tip in there for helping to make your bearings last longer too. I do that trick to all the other idler wheels. And I run I just put the DuPont sliders on my snowmobile. I've got a video for that too, so you might want to check that out. So when I have the Viper parked in the shop or even in my enclosed trailer, I've got some power hooked up to it, so I always keep the battery tender plugged into it. And I've got a couple of these, and they're real nice to have. Keeps your battery fresh. And I just run it out the side here, right off the battery. It's hooked up with a fuse too, so always recommend keeping your batteries on tender to keep it all charged up. Speaking of keeping things fresh, I like to use this Mother's California Gold spray wax on a microfiber rag and just keep the Viper wiped down. It adds a little layer of wax to it, and you know, when you're out in the shop enjoying your favorite beverage, whatever that may be, it's nice just to keep your machine all shined up, and that's what I use for that. So there you go, guys. That's all the things I've done to my Viper so far, and that's just to make it work better for me personally. You know, if you guys got any ideas on how to make these work a little bit better, drop it down there in the comments section. I'd love to hear back from you. And if you like my video, like the video. And like I said before at the beginning of the video, what's really important now more than ever for small guys like me on YouTube is that you subscribe. I'm going to keep making more and more videos, some trail footage. I'm going to be doing videos with my motocross bikes as well. So if you're into that, you're going to want to check out that in the future. I just bought that KTM XE250. I got a little video on my first day out on that. Check that one out too. But yeah, like I said, thanks for everybody who has subscribed. I really appreciate it. And thanks for all the comments I've gotten so far. 90% of it's all been positive, so you know, you always get that other 10%, but hey, that's, you know, you even learn things from those guys too. So leave me some comments, let me know what you think, let me know what you want to see in the future. You know, if you want to see some cool trail footage all put together in a video, I can do that. If there's any other procedures, maintenance procedures that you want to do that you haven't done, maybe I can get those done for you too. And yeah, guys, hopefully you guys are out there riding. Right now here in southern Ontario, the weather's definitely not cooperating, so that's why I'm out here doing this. You know, I'm sure things will change around and I'll get out there riding this year some more, so get some more footage, make some more videos, and you know, just help everybody out with their passion of riding snowmobiles and dirt bikes. So there you go, guys. Biker Mike out.